Right now, it is a war of words between the U.S. and Ukraine. Both President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelenskyy firing off at each other as talks are ongoing to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Trump posting on Truth Social several hours ago, calling Zelenskyy a dictator and adding, quote, "Zelenskyy has done a terrible job and his country is shattered." Now, this comes after Zelenskyy said Trump is trapped in a Russian disinformation bubble and is calling for, quote, more truth with the Trump team after President Trump accused Ukraine of starting the war. Right now, the U.S. and Russia are forging ahead on peace talks, with Vladimir Putin saying he is ready to negotiate with Ukraine, potentially ending the years-long bloody battle. And NewsNation's Robert Sherman is live for us outside the White House following all of this. And Robert, both Trump and Zelenskyy are really no longer holding back with each other.
And you're watching this continue on into the day here, Nichole. All of this coming after the president had that press conference at Mar-a-Lago in which he issued criticisms towards the Ukrainian president, talking about his approval rating amongst his people, talking about how there's been a lack of elections taking place in Ukraine. The Ukrainians have been defending their position throughout the day, calling the president's comments loaded with disinformation, saying that he doesn't have a firm grasp of the situation that is on the ground in Ukraine. Nevertheless, the president has continued to double down on these comments. But this is what the Ukrainians have said in response. Here's Zelenskyy.
I would like Trump's team to have more truth. All this definitely doesn't have a positive impact on Ukraine. They're letting Putin out of isolation. I think Putin and Russia are really happy because they are involved in discussions. And yesterday, there were signals that they are the victims. That's something new.
Meanwhile, Special Envoy Keith Kellogg is on the ground in Ukraine today. This was a previous scheduled meeting set to take place here, and he's given some indication of the goals of this trip to Ukraine. He says number one objective is to listen to the Ukrainian perspective, as he will be the one who's delivering those messages back and forth between Kyiv and Washington as you see these negotiations continue on. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he wants to take Kellogg personally to the front lines of the war to show him what the conflict has done to his nation. Nichole.
Okay, so we're hearing today much more from Zelenskyy. What are the Russians saying about the status of these discussions?
Well, I mean, you've certainly seen different dialogues coming out of the Kremlin ever since those formal sit-downs in Saudi Arabia. Acknowledgement of the thawing of the frosty relations between the two countries there. You've heard Vladimir Putin come out today say, even praising President Trump for the way that he's handled European allies and kept them at bay in certain instances here. And that has been the Kremlin's position, is that for now the talks should just be between the United States and the Russians, and later on bringing the Europeans in. But I mean, this is a stark contrast to what we've seen over the last couple of years here, Nichole. Ever since the war in Ukraine began, it really has been strained relations and not much in the way of formal communication between the Kremlin and the White House. That has been changing here this week as these negotiations start to pick up. Nichole.
All right. Robert Sherman live for us there in D.C. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.